In this episode, Del and Val speak to Ahmed Afifi, who will be presenting at Project Controls Expo Virtual this September about risk associated with engaging employers' nominated subcontractors in mega projects, a case study from a mega project in the Middle East. For more information, visit projectcontrolsexpo.com to grab a ticket to the expo, and for more in-depth podcasts, visit projectchatterpodcast.com. Now, on with the pod.
Hello, Ahmed Afifi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. How are you doing?
It's the best I can hear from your side. That's fine. I'm fine.
Awesome.
Hope you're fine as well.
I'm not doing too bad. Thank you very much. It's usually Val that's the one that struggles with the names, but he's not here today. So I thought I'd fill in for him and struggle with pronunciation of names. It is my South African accent. So there we go. But thank you for your time on the Project Speakers podcast today. So you're coming at us from the Middle East. Is that right?
I am from Egypt. I worked in UAE, Saudi Arabia, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Libya, and Egypt.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's get straight to it. So the topic you'll be talking about at the expo, risks associated with engaging employers nominated subcontractors in mega projects. And it's in the case study zone. So it's from mega projects in the Middle East, which you've just mentioned. And that's really exciting because I think real life case studies are where you really can get the truth behind a lot of these challenges. So without giving your full presentation away, I guess, what is in store for the listeners?
Okay. Actually, the meaning of this or the idea about this came from a project which was complex project, 10 years project. Originally was 4 years project. And then it came to 10 years, mostly because of the employers nominated subcontractors. So when you come into the risk of engaging subcontractors with the contractor, you're losing one of your tools, which is getting the contractor holding the full risk of the project. You're engaging yourself by engaging someone maybe who's not that professional in this area, or he is not sufficient enough for the quality works or the time and the cost. And that's why popping up in my mind, we have to advise the professionals that please stop using this provision, or at least keep it when you need it.
Absolutely. So is this something that's quite common in the Middle East where employers nominate the subcontractors?
FedEx contract allows this. So once the employer who is holding the money, I need to engage someone from my side.
Right.
It's not all the time owning the money. You can do whatever you want. You are the only loser of delaying the project, delaying the revenues, delaying everything, and then paying so much more money because you have the rework and so on and so forth. So yet I can say it's mostly common in Egypt. I didn't see it so far common in the UAE, especially except for something which is so special.
That's quite interesting. And then you talk about risk, right?
Yeah.
And just for those that aren't familiar with, I guess, employers nominating subcontractors, how is the risk structured so if I'm an employer, I nominate a subcontractor, I bear all of the risk of that subcontractor. Is that right?
No,
No?
it's not the direct meaning. Uh, Originally, the contractor holds all the subcontractors to subcontract the works to others and share the risk between him and them. But not nominating subcontractors to the contractor, meaning that the employer holds the risk. You have two steps. The first step is I'm nominating someone to do a certain work. So if the contractor did not object the nomination, so it becomes a normal subcontractor.
Okay.
Okay, if he objects to this, so, and then here is the problem. Here is actually the issue. And by the way, even if he's not objecting this, and some certain point, we have a problem, a huge problem from this one. You came across and be a part of the problem, which is in my mind is not needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have some, without naming names, do you have some like real life examples that you're going to be sharing at the expo, or perhaps you can just touch on in the short podcast?
I mentioned there's a complex medical study or max of hospitals, max use. And then at a certain point, we faced the employer nominating subcontractors, many subcontractors, without being a know-how. I know the American city, but for the finishing works, for the marble works, for even making the conduits or the underground utilities, it's not a know-how thing. And we faced that across 160 subcontractors. We have 65 nominated subcontractors.
Wow.
We engaged ourselves into the project as if we are the contractors. So here was the problem. And I mentioned actually in the case study, if there is a know-how and there's a special project, let's say it's a nuclear power, and you need someone who is so special and known in this function, and then you came across, and not all the contractors know this company X who is doing this professionally, and company X dash, company X double dash, those three companies and across the world who can do this. But actually, I faced a very bad example, but it's good for learning.
Yeah, those ones that have the biggest challenges are always great for learning. And without mentioning, I guess, values, maybe use percentages. How in terms of delay and overruns, what percentages are we looking at?
Wow. The project is delayed. Um, if the project is 40 months or 45 months,
Wow.
it became like delay like 80 months, but not all
Ouch.
for this case. Let's say the majority are for this, but not all for this. So let's say it caused 150% of the delay, and maybe more for the money.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So some might say that actually that those listening might say actually that happens on our projects where we don't, where the employer doesn't nominate subcontractors, you know. So are there any positives for employers nominating subcontractors?
The idea actually is keep, let's say, is the risk allocation of the contract is distributed like I'm the employer who paying the money,
Yes.
the service from the contractor. So the contractor bears the risk of hiring someone and completing the work within the quality, within the time, within the cost. Yani let's say it's above and over some percentage. But engaging myself in this will be in question everything. So it's about the risk allocation, not about maybe they have, maybe the projects which have nominated subcontractors which got 100% perfect. But in I think this is not in the real world anyway. But, but all the projects are having overruns in the time, overruns in the cost, overruns in the quality, maybe reworks and so on and so forth. But actually, this one of the clauses, which you don't need to use it except if you have something very unique. And this is the idea of the paper, I mean.
Well, that is pretty interesting. We spoke to Martin Murphy a couple of episodes ago, and he gave the Spanish view on it. And he was actually saying there's no set contractual frameworks in Spain because culturally it's very much like, you sort of just get it done and you trust each other, etc. And that's very different to the UK. And it sounds like the UK and the Middle East are quite similar, where it's very commercially based around the contract. And so I wonder then, do you find a lot of contracts going to dispute?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a majority of them? Is it all of
Actually,
them?
I just want to say that the federal contract, which having the majority or the dominance in the Middle East, having inside it, which some useful tool, which is dispute adjudication board, which is a board which is within the project, having the updates from the project. So I can say that resorting to this board is not quite saying a dispute. Going to the arbitration and the long lead process, which is about the arbitration, which may take years and years, and litigation, which may take 10 years.
Mm,
Yes, the arbitration in Egypt is, I think, more than 25% of the projects.
wow, wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
are there any comparisons with the rest of the world as to whether that's low, high?
I have no idea, but I guess from the percentage is very high.
Yeah, maybe someone listening to this podcast can get in touch and let us know.
Yeah,
No, that is awesome. Just as we head towards the end of this particular podcast, Ahmed, was there anything particular that you going to be that you want the listeners to come along and be involved in your presentation at the expo to particularly take away? Is there an aim?
okay, surely there are aim. The aim is look at the risk allocation. Look at what you maybe you're on the contractor side and you are happy that the employer is with the contractors and getting the risk away. But actually this is not helping the project. We are aiming to finish the project, let's say not within the time, there is overruns and so on and so forth. But actually making the disruption to the project by engaging many parties who are needless and the contractor losing the control of the project and the employer interfering more, actually it's about risk allocation. And I mean, this clause has to be reviewed again by the FedEx. I don't know, but it's something which has to have the people minds again. Maybe rethink about limitation of using this. This is the idea of the paper actually.
That is awesome. I am looking forward to seeing what you will be presenting at the expo. So thank you so much for your time, Ahmed Afifi. I think everyone is looking forward to seeing your presentation at the expo.
Thank you.